All right, chapter 4, section 4, factoring polynomials. All right, factoring polynomials. They call it quadratic expressions, but I'm calling it polynomials because I can. All right, this is the way you're going to factor out. We're going to take number 1 here. I'll rewrite this up here: x squared plus 6x plus 8. And we want to factor this out. What we're factoring this out to is actually called roots. We're finding the roots to this problem here. All right? Some of the, pre-calc gets taught a lot of algebra too. That's the way it works. All right. So if I want to find out my roots are actually like this. I'm going to come up with something that says x, and there's going to be a positive or negative in here, and here with a number. Okay, that's what we want to get to. We want to get this down to a single root. Here's how we view this. I want you to pay attention. We're going to take the multiples of 8. What are the multiples of 8? We got 1 and 8, 2 and 4, right? Those are my multiples of 8. Now, my multiples, I have to look at them like this. And I say, what can I do with my multiples 1 and 8 or 2 and 4 to come up with 6? What do I have to do? I have to add them, and it's always adding or subtracting in this. 2 plus 4, right? So I know that it's going to be a 2 and a 4, because if I add up my 2 and 4, it's going to equal my 6 right here. But I'm using my multiples to find those numbers. Now here's the key. What signs do you put in there? This one's pretty easy. Because we have pluses in both of these, and we know we have to add them. So I would have a plus in both. Okay? This number out here is a plus, and actually what that tells you is that you're adding both of them together. This is going to, if you're adding both of them together, this is going to tell you what the sign is that you're going to add them in. Okay? This right here tells you you're adding them. This here tells you the sign that's going in it. So let's take a look at another one. Let's say x squared minus 2x plus 1. Okay? X squared minus 2x plus 1. What do I come up with? What are my factors of 1? 1 and 1. All right? That's all we have. Right? But what are we doing? We're adding them up to get 2, right? 1, 1. And we're adding them up to get 2, but we're going to add them as minuses, 2 minuses. All right? That shows us this minus that's going in here. Okay, so we saw what happens when we factor it out. We look to see what our signs are to be able to tell us. We got a plus here, so we know we're adding them, and this is a sign that's going to go in for both of them. Pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at one that doesn't work like that. X squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay. What are the factors of 10? Got to find that right away. 1, 2, 5, and 10. Okay. Now, we notice there's a minus here. So we're going to subtract 2 factors together. We have 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. Which ones will subtract to come up with a 3? 2 and 5. So we can write our factors like this. We can put 2 and put 5 in here. Okay? This negative sign tells me it's going to go to the larger of the 2 numbers. Okay? Goes to the larger of the 2 numbers. That's what that minus sign will tell me in there. If I'm subtracting, it's going to go to the larger of the two. If I had one like this, x squared plus 3x minus 10, then I would have my 1, 2, 5, and 10 again. I know my 2 and my 5 is what I'm going to have to do, subtract these. I'd put my x, 2, x, 5. Now my plus goes to the larger number. See how I did that? If you got a negative sign here, then the sign goes to the larger number. Because if you have a negative sign here, you're subtracting the two factors. Does this make sense? Okay. Factoring is literally that simple. I'm going to throw you one more at you. What happens when you have something out in front of your x squared? Let me think here. What am I going to come up? Let me grab one that's actually a problem here. Let's try this one right here. 2x squared minus 11x plus 5. Here's what you do. What are the factors of 2? 1 and 2. What are the factors of 5? 1 and 5. We only have those factors. Somehow or another, we have to come up with a combination that's 11. Since we have a plus here, we know we're adding them both. Since there's a minus here, we know there's a minus going between them. Okay? So we're going to come up with something like this. And we know 1's going to go on one side, 5's going to go on the other. That's all the way to right, so we put this on the right. We know there's minuses going in both of these because there's a minus here. But now we have to figure out where does the 2 go and where does the 1 go? Remember, this has to add up to 11. If we put our 1 here, it would be a 1 times 5, right? Which would be 5. And a 2 here would be a 2 times 1. And that would add up to 7. That doesn't cut it. If we put our 2 here and our 1 here, 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. Adds up to 11. That's what we need to come to. There's our factor. We just factored it out. See how I did that? When you have 1 out in front of the x squared, you have to factor both of them out. Then you have to come up with a combination that's going to work. That's going to work here. Okay? You guys cool with it? Cool beans. Well, let's see, a couple hundred maybe. I don't know. All right. What's on the second page? Let's not worry about the second page yet. Let's just do the first page. And we'll do the odds. Yeah, do them. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. It won't take you long to go through it. Do the odds on this page.